After using the base model iPhone 17e, I think Apple made a very interesting iPhone. This is the cheapest new iPhone in the lineup, starting with 256 gigabytes of storage, a 6.1-inch OLED display, Apple's A19 chip, and a 48 megapixel Fusion camera. But after spending some time with it, the big question is simple. Did Apple make a great budget iPhone here? Or did they cut too many corners? In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what my experience with the iPhone 17e was like, including the display, performance, battery life, camera, who should buy it, who should absolutely not buy it, and whether I think you should buy this or save up for the regular iPhone 17 instead. First, the design. Honestly, the iPhone 17e does not feel cheap in the hand. You still get an aluminum frame, a glass back, ceramic shield 2 on the front, and IP68 water and dust resistance. So from a build perspective, Apple really didn't cheap out here. It still feels like a proper modern iPhone. And because it weighs only 169 grams, it also feels lighter and easier to use than some of the heavier flagship phones out there. The display is one of the areas where the iPhone 17e is good, but not amazing. You get a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and it does look sharp. The text is crisp, colors look nice, and videos look good on it. Brightness is rated at 800 nits typical and 1200 nits peak for HDR. But this is also where you start to feel the budget iPhone compromises. Compared to the regular 17, the 17e is missing some of the more premium display features, and the regular 17 has a larger 6.3-inch display with ProMotion up to 120Hz, always on display, and a much higher outdoor brightness. So the 17e display is good for everyday use, but it definitely doesn't feel like the best display in Apple's lineup. Performance is actually one of the strongest parts of this phone. The iPhone 17e runs Apple's A19 chip with a 6-core CPU, a 4-core GPU, and a 16-core neural engine. In day-to-day use, it feels fast. Apps open quickly, multitasking is smooth, and the phone doesn't feel slow or cheap at all. So if you're worried that buying the cheaper iPhone means getting a laggy experience, that's really not the case here. However, the catch is that the regular iPhone 17 gets a 5-core GPU, so if you really care about the slightly stronger graphics setup, the regular 17 still has the edge. Now let's talk about the camera, because this is one of the biggest reasons some people should skip this phone. The iPhone 17e has a 48 megapixel Fusion camera and a 12 megapixel true depth front camera. It can shoot 4K Dolby Vision video up to 60 frames per second on both the rear and front camera. And honestly, the main camera is actually pretty solid. Photos look sharp, colors look nice, and for quick social media shots or everyday pictures, it does the job well. I'm not going to be posting photo comparisons in this video just because there's already hundreds of videos out there doing that. But the biggest limitation is obvious. You only get one rear camera. Apple gives you a 2x telephoto option through the Fusion camera, but you do not get an ultra-wide. This means less flexibility for landscapes, tighter indoor shots, and group photos. So if you mainly just point and shoot and want a decent main camera, then the 17e is fine. But if cameras matter a lot to you, I'd seriously consider saving up for the regular iPhone 17. Battery life on the iPhone 17e was actually one of the better parts of my experience. Apple rates it for up to 26 hours of video playback and up to 21 hours of streamed video playback. And in my own use, it comfortably got me through a full day. I was ending most days with around 20 to 30% battery life with normal use like texting, social media, YouTube, photos, and some camera use. Everyone's use case is different, so your own results will vary. But overall, battery life is definitely not one of this phone's major weaknesses. Another thing to note is charging. Charging has improved this year, but it still depends on what you compare it to. The iPhone 17e supports USB-C, MagSafe wireless charging up to 15 watts, and Qi 2 wireless charging up to 15 watts. Apple also says it can charge to 50% in 30 minutes with a 20-watt charger or higher. That's definitely usable, and MagSafe is a nice upgrade here. But if you compare it to the regular iPhone 17, the regular 17 charges faster. Apple says the iPhone 17 can hit 50% in 20 minutes with 40-watt adapter, and it also supports 30-minute MagSafe fast charging with a 30-watt adapter. So charging on the 17e is fine. It's not bad, but it's just not class leading. To hit this lower price, Apple definitely made some cuts. The biggest ones are the simpler camera setup, the less premium display experience, and a weaker GPU compared to the regular iPhone 17. The regular iPhone 17 also gets more premium front camera hardware. Apple lists it as 18 megapixel center stage front camera on the regular 17, while this iPhone 17e just has a 12 megapixel true depth camera. So no, Apple did not ruin this phone. But yes, you can clearly see where they saved money. So who should buy the iPhone 17e? I believe the iPhone 17e makes the most sense for people who want a modern iPhone at the lowest price possible. Also, if you want the smallest, newest iPhone, this is your only option. If you're coming from an older iPhone or just want a reliable iPhone for everyday use, this phone, you still get the A19 chip, OLED display, solid battery life, MagSafe, USB-C, and a good main camera. So for casual users, students, or people who just want a straightforward iPhone, I believe the 17e is actually a decent option. So who should not buy the iPhone 17e? You should probably not buy the iPhone 17e if you care a lot about cameras, want a more premium display, or plan to keep your phone for years and want the complete package. Because once you look at what the regular iPhone 17 offers, a bigger 6.3-inch display, 120Hz ProMotion screen, always on display, a brighter screen, stronger GPU, faster charging, a much better front camera, it starts to feel like the more complete phone. So the biggest question, should you buy this or save for the iPhone 17? If your main goal is just getting the cheapest current iPhone that still feels modern, the iPhone 17e does enough right that I can understand buying it. But if you can afford to spend more, I do think the regular iPhone 17 is a better long-term buy. It's just a more complete phone. So my honest take and Remy Tech Lab recommendation is this. The iPhone 17e is good, but the iPhone 17 is the one I'd recommend if your budget can stretch a little bit. So is the iPhone 17e good? Yes, I think it's a good phone, but I also think that Apple cut just enough corners that you can clearly tell where this sits in the lineup. The display is good, but it's not special. The main camera is good, but it's not versatile. Performance is strong, battery life is solid, charging is decent, but the regular iPhone 17 is still the better buy if you can stretch your budget. My Remy Tech Lab rating on this phone is 7.8 out of 10. It's a good phone, solid value, but not the one I'd buy unless I specifically wanted the cheapest, smallest, newest iPhone. Alright guys, let me know in the comments, are you planning on buying the iPhone 17e? Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.